Hello and welcome to another video. This is Voorhees Retro 81 and welcome back to the Heretic Let's Play. So, a question's been asked to me as to demonstrating more of the melee in this game. Now, there's a distinct reason that I haven't used the melee in this game outside of I haven't needed to. There's no point really, but as you can see, the melee fills about half of your visible screen, and a lot like the chainsaw in Doom, it pulls you towards whatever you're attacking. But unlike Doom, which has relatively good collision detection about those near misses, Heretic does not. So while arguably, if you decide you're going to use melee, the other thing is that because enemies will attack in... There are flying enemies in Doom, obviously, but they're the kind that you would never use melee on. You just wouldn't, because you got... I mean, you want to try meleeing a caca demon with a chainsaw, even with a chainsaw, you know, good luck. Have fun with that. I may sound... I feel like I sound a bit sterner than I meant to, but the truth of the matter is that the fellow who asked me has been playing along at the same time, and I just don't want him to get into, you know. I hope he does it. I hope he's able to finish the game, because it's a really fun game and it's a game I really enjoy, and you know. But it can get very difficult if you, especially later. Right now, it doesn't really matter if you get slapped in the face by a couple of golems here and there, but later on, it's kind of hard to explain without going to a later level. This game has a very different difficulty curve to Doom, so and it has some similarities difficulty curve wise to Doom, in that one of the ways it gets harder is that it throws a lot more stuff at you, but until you get to the Thy Flesh Consumed episode, or some of Doom 2, but really Doom 2 is only hard in places largely because the ways to get out of levels are obtuse and can put you at risk, more than also the second the extra stages of Doom 2 are ludicrous in terms of the amount of enemies they have. But this first episode is relatively easy, I would say. Even, you know, approaching that from the point of view of a seasoned player with a lot of experience. But one of the reasons that I started this playthrough specifically on the easy difficulty level is if I want to go through the later episodes, like I'm talking the expansion episodes here, they're no joke. Even on easy, they are very difficult. We're talking lack of items, more enemies than you have ammunition to deal with, underpowered weaponry. Yeah, they're a tough run, the later parts of this game, and you know, as people are trying to play the game via, to a certain extent, my playthrough at this point, I feel like I'd be doing them a disservice to say, oh yeah, you know, use melee all the time, you know, saves ammunition. It will save ammunition, but whether you're still there to use that ammunition, I mean, you see there's 5 enemies there, and they close in on you, they'll give you good hiding. Again, this isn't as difficult as, say, Blood. you know, I mean, blood, for instance, has. Now this is a tricky part. I cannot for the life of me remember if there is a. I think this is the only way to do this section. You have to open that wall there, hop up here, and hop across there, and that will drop down. But you need to get in here before it closes back up. It's not the end of the world if it does. You'll just get pushed back up there, but you'll have to do the whole thing again, and that's kind of be a pain in the neck. So my advice would be to leg it into this sort of little tunnel for as soon as you can. The other thing that will come into play, definitely, well, at the end of this episode, but from the end of this episode through to the later episodes, perpetually will happen is you will be attacked by high level enemies who, if you stand in front of them, you're going to be seeing the load game screen an awful lot. One of the things that is very cool about Melee though, especially if you've got the Gauntlet of the Necromancer, is you see what's going on there. You know, I can only attack one guy at a time, and because I'm locked into the enemy in front of me that I'm attacking, there's nothing I can do to get away from the enemy that sort of is on my case. Now, there's a secret here. A couple of invisible golems. We've got the Tome of Power dealio on, and there's no point worrying about using those at this point, because you know you've got. If you don't use them, you'll end up with 4 at the end of the level, and then you'll only have 1 when you get into the next level. Now, can I go through here? Yes. Okay. So you got that gentleman there. Now, I'm trying to remember. Yes, you can also go through here, and there's an extra invincibility dealio, and that will drop you off here. Now we're going to go through that teleporter just so I can see where that teleporter goes to, basically, for the people who are watching. Oh, and that will get you a Morphovum, which means we've got 2 more Morphovums, which means we can have a bit of fun. Yeah. So I hope that's cleared up the I'm not using melee situation from a technical gameplay standpoint for Obsolete, and also I hope you don't feel like I'm intentionally singling you out to give you some stick. That's not the case at all. I read that you were playing through the game alongside me, and I thought he's gonna die if he gets used to using the melee. I mean, I know. I think you're using a modded version, and I'm not using a modded version for sort of nostalgia and, you know, things being where they're supposed to be type's sake. So Morphovums turns things into chickens, and then they can be easily disposed of. I don't think that works on bosses, but don't quote me on that. Now, if we go down here, give that a push. Now, can we go? No, we can't go under those. I might be wrong, but I feel like there's a way you can get through to there. Sure, I did it last playthrough. Oh yeah, okay, so this teleporter probably takes us over. No? Alright, I'm really confused now. And slightly annoyed. Sorry about this. I'm trying to kind of do more of the secret areas on this level. How do I get that down then? So push that switch. I'm confused now. See, this is the kind of thing that, like, this game isn't... This game is not straight... Oh, there we go. Right. I don't know what opened that. And whatever difficulty level you're playing on, you're going to have quite a few wizards to deal with down here. Push. Hop down here. I might be wrong, but I think this takes us to the secret level. Let's see what we... Okay. Yes! Okay. So we'll save there. So that's the graveyard, and that's the secret level for this stage. This is the one secret level that I definitely know how to get to, so we'll pick up with that later on in the gameplay. But like I say, I don't want to have a go at anybody who is using melee. I don't want to tell people how to play the game. If you're enjoying using the melee attack, great. And if you're finding a skillful way to use it, great. I find that it sort of latches you onto enemies in a way that isn't helpful, and the collision point for it is right in the center of the screen. So you can't see what's going on in your peripheral when you're using like the gauntlets. The stick is only to be used if you literally have no ammunition. It's not powerful enough to doing anything past a melee imp really quickly enough for you to continue. But yeah, play the game how you want. Seriously, don't listen to me over the top of, you know, if you're finding a way that you're enjoying playing the game, play it that way. But at the later points of this game, things get pretty intense, and you're going to be getting fire breathed on you, shot into the air by whirlwinds, you know, hit with like spiked maces, all kinds of stuff like going on at once. And you don't want to be able to see the top half of the screen and be latched on to an enemy, as you know, a smaller enemy, when a big enemy suddenly comes around the corner on you. And because there's that kind of sort of iframes inconsistency of, like, you know, you can be hitting something and it can be going, oh well, you're slightly to the left or slightly to the right, therefore I can just punch you in the face or shoot you in the face with an axe or a fireball or whatever. It's iffy, and that's all I wanted to say on that front, because there was a very technical reason that I hadn't been using the melee attacks on these levels. It's also the number of enemies that you'll be facing. You know, much like the chainsaw in Doom, the chainsaw in Doom becomes, I would argue, largely irrelevant unless you've got invulnerability on. And if you've got invulnerability on, your best bet is to take the rocket launcher and go straight up to something and basically melee it with a rocket launcher when you've got invulnerability on anyway. But I've ranted and rambled. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later on. And again, thank you for your continued interest in the game and the playthrough, and thank you for continuing to watch my videos. All the best. Peace out.